Welcome to the First and 30 podcast. Antonino, tell the chairman movement what we are all about.
We are two 30-something-year-old guys giving you the world's fastest mock draft in 30 I choose you minutes of NFL football insight to get you through your hump day.
Yes, it's here, man. We made it. Mock draft episode. If you remember last year, Antonino, we had a very big, audacious, bold goal of doing the world's fastest mock draft. And yes, we verified through Guinness. This was the fastest live mock draft. We did it in under 30 minutes. This year, we have 32 picks. We're just going to cover the first round, right? We're going to, I believe every team is picking in the first round, which means those that are listening in the chain movement, stick around. You're going to hear what Antonino and I think your team is going to do in the draft next week.
Next week, 8 short days away. Get that jingle ready. Your team is on the clock, and all your future fortune rides on this pick. Let's go.
I'm excited, and we have this little Pokemon flair, so I think maybe when we're feeling compelled, Antonino, we can do some pro comps, maybe to like a Pokemon characters.
Absolutely. I love where this is going. Yes.
Okay. So we have about a half hour to get this covered. That's right. We're going to do all 32 picks. So let's get into it, man. This is going to be kind of quick. We'll give a few of our takes and our opinions on the selections. And this year, I'm going to gift you with the first pick of the draft, and we'll alternate between picks. So you'll get number 1, I'll get 2, you get 3, I get 4, so on. And then we'll take a little half-minute halftime intermission halfway through. Then we'll hop back in and finish this thing off. How does that sound?
Let's do it. Can't wait. Mock draft time.
All right, man. It is time.
Woo.
Are you ready with the first pick?
The number 1 pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select quarterback Cam Ward, University of Miami. This is a slam dunk pick for a team that no one can remember the last time they had a franchise decent quarterback.
Vince Young. Come on, right?
Oh boy, that's cringe. That is so cringe.
If you remember, Kerry Collins ended up stepping up and outplaying Vince Young. Ruined his career.
They had Drew Lock, Tannehill. They had Mariota in there for a while.
Oh, yeah, Mariota.
Didn't they just draft Willis from Liberty University?
Yeah, third round though. So we're thinking Cam Ward is the answer. A lot of people are projecting he's going to land number 1. I don't dispute you here. You went with the safe option. You could have gone a little bit more bold there and really stirred things up to start this draft off, but I kind of anticipated you to do that. So let's move to the second pick. Are you cool with that? I'm going to be selecting for the Browns here. And I was anticipating you to take Cam Ward. So with the second pick, the 2025 first and 30 mock draft, I am going to select Travis Hunter, wide receiver cornerback out of Colorado. He's going to go to the Browns. I think this is an electrifying selection, a Pikachu comp, if you will, because he's a little buzzy. He can play both sides of the ball, has endless energy. I mean, the guy played, over 700 snaps on both sides of the ball last year. No one had ever done that in college football. So he's a rare X-factor player that projects to be a top 5 pick in both positions, which I don't think I've ever seen this before.
And it's come out recently that he refuses to play at the next level if he doesn't play both sides of the ball. So that's interesting quirk to keep an eye on.
And I think Cleveland is going to be willing to experiment. They need help both on the defensive side and offensive. He's the reigning Heisman Trophy winner. I think Cleveland fans would be excited if their Browns went ahead and selected Travis Hunter with the second pick.
So that means with pick number 3, the New York Giants are on the clock, and that leaves us with one other quarterback. So they're obviously going to take a quarterback. But no, I have the Giants taking Abdul Carter, edge from Penn State. Shadur Sanders, too immature for New York City. Go cry a river. Abdul Carter, instant impact. If I had to give a reference, Blastoise. He's going to go through all the offensive lines all year long. Abdul Carter, not a flashy pick for the quarterback perspective, but he gets the job done here in a big way.
So you're playing the Giants GM right here. is your decision being made based off of signing Russ Wilson and Jameis Winston? You're feeling content and confident, like, hey, we're rolling this season with these two guys. Abdul Carter, he's had a few injuries recently. He didn't participate in the combine and everything, so you're okay with that, though.
I think they're way more than a quarterback flash in the plan away from making the playoffs and I think Abdul Carter will do more for this team in 10 years than any Shedeur Sanders would.
Well, I mean, as Joe Sheen and Brian Dable are making this pick, they're thinking this season, I would assume. Like they have a very short leash. They're hoping he's like the next Micah Parsons. All right. We're on to the fourth pick, Antonino. And with the fourth pick in this mock draft, the New England Patriots are up. And with this selection, they are going to decide to bolster that offensive line, protect Drake May, and I think right now the consensus seems to be that LSU offensive tackle Will Campbell is perhaps one of the best offensive line prospects in this draft. There's a debate between him and we'll get to the other guy perhaps a little bit later. But with this pick, we're going to go ahead and take Will Campbell. You have to protect May. He was a top 5 pick last year, so go ahead, build up an offensive line to protect this guy.
All right, number 5, Jacksonville Jaguars. There's some big names out there. You got Shedeur, you got Ashton Genty, some big names, but no. They're going to go ahead and get the best defensive tackle in this draft, Michigan D tackle Mason Graham. They're filling a huge void, a big need, perfect fit.
Okay, Mason Graham. Yeah, I mean, he's slotted to go top 5, it seems, so not a bad selection. So, yeah, big names still on the board. You would figure now with the Las Vegas Raiders up with this 6th pick in our mock draft, they have a lot of needs. They did just go ahead and trade for Geno Smith, though. So maybe we're content with quarterback. You know, Pete Carroll, Geno Smith, repairing that like fine wine. So from a GM's perspective, we took Brock Bowers last year in the first round. He was great. We don't really have another pass catcher, but we also had one of the worst rushing attacks in the league. And we have probably the best running back prospect since Bijan and Saquon Barkley. He's in that tier and in that category, which is why the Raiders are going to go ahead and take Ashton Genty out of Boise State. This dude compiled for over 2,500 rushing yards last season, 30 touchdowns. He finished second in Heisman voting. I think the Raiders and Raiders fans would be really happy if this is how this pick plays out.
He arguably should have got the Heisman, and we're noticing a certain slide here on a player, Shedeur Sanders, which is Geno Smith is his mentor, so keep an eye out for that. But I love this pick of yours, Ashton Genty to the Raiders.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't picture them going ahead and taking Shedeur. I mean, they just gave Geno a big contract, but maybe if he slides further in this draft, maybe we as Raiders will go ahead and trade in. All right. Who's at 7, man?
Give us number 7. The New York Jets.
Ew.
They're going to get a stalwart on the offensive line and get offensive tackle Armand Membo. And people are going to lose their minds because, again, Shedeur's on the clock. They need a quarterback. I'm telling you, every pick that goes by where he's not taken, people will lose their minds. They're going to protect Justin Fields, and they're going to try and get him to be that quarterback they've been needing for a long time.
Okay.
Protect Justin Fields.
Yep. So you have Justin Fields getting protection around him, giving him a fair shot. They did just give him a contract. He's making about $30 million. So you're hoping that he is the answer. Back-to-back years, though, for the Jets, offensive line. So you're hoping it works out. Tyron Smith retires. They needed that void. So this is and Membo, he's up there in consensus around Will Campbell. So I could see either of those guys flip-flopping between the 4th and the 8th pick.
Yep.
All right, man. Well, speaking of 8th pick, Carolina is on the clock. And with this selection, they're going to go ahead and select edge rusher out of Texas A&M, Shamar Stewart. This guy's kind of like a Rapidash, dude. Like, just blazing quickness. He's perhaps the most polarizing player, I'd say, in this draft. So if you haven't been following it too closely, he tested perhaps as one of the best edge rushers as a prospect ever. I mean, he's a 6'5", 267-pound dude with 34-inch arms. He ran a 40 and sub 4.6. His vert was 40 inches, 10.11 broad jump. Like, these are numbers that you just do not see from an edge rusher. But the caveat here, he only eclipsed a sack and a half once in his college career.
That might be a red flag.
It is. No, it is. But you see this every year. There's a guy that just out-tests everyone in the combine, and teams fall in love with the idea of him as a prospect. Yeah. So I think Carolina, they have a need at edge. Their defense was horrible last year. They lost Brian Burns. They traded him. Shamir Stewart. Yeah, he's their pick.
All right, let's see if he could be their next Julius Peppers. But at number 9, folks, this is it. The New Orleans Saints are on the clock.
Ooh, they have a need.
Derek Carr has gone down with an injury. He's probably not going to play this year. They have a need at quarterback, and this is it. They're taking the quarterback.
Yep, here's Sanders, right?
The New Orleans Saints select Jackson Dart,
Whoa!
quarterback. Ole Miss.
What?
Yeah. He's going right up the road from Mississippi down to Louisiana, right up the road. Your Southern boy's going to play for those Saints. I have high hopes for this kid. I think he's the best quarterback in this draft. Watch out, folks. Let the Shador slide continue because Jackson Dart is the second best quarterback in this draft.
Antonino.
Second quarterback picked in this draft.
Yeah. I'm looking at our board right now. I don't see a team in the next 10 picks that would take quarterback.
Here's where you can see some teams try and move up. Once that slide gets bad, teams might try and trade up.
So Sanders is sliding on our mock draft currently. So we do not have Shador going potentially in the top 10 because I have Chicago now as this pick. And I mean, we have Caleb Williams. We took him number 1 overall. So there's no way we're taking Shador here. We're actually, for the Bears, they're going to go ahead and take offensive tackle Kelvin Banks Jr. He was a former 5-star recruit and team captain out of Texas. They need to protect Caleb. Yeah. That was the issue last year. They went ahead. They made some big trades and some big signings. Add one more piece to that offensive line. Really give this offense a chance this season. Brian Johnson, new coach down there. So, but the Shador Sanders slide is happening right now.
On pick 11. San Francisco absolutely does not need a quarterback. What they do need is a playmaking linebacker, and that's why they're going to select Jalen Walker out of Georgia. The guy is a stud. I'm so excited for this guy. He missed a pro day with a quad injury, but he was the consensus best linebacker in this draft at one point, and I think he's going to fall right into their lap. It's going to be a great fit.
Honestly, I was considering him at Carolina with 8 because he ended up becoming kind of like the Mike linebacker, but also was kind of like their blitz specialist there in Georgia. So definitely could see him filling in at 8, being a top 10 pick, but I like the pick there for the 49ers. Oh, but you know what this means, Antonino? We're on pick 12.
Those boys are on the clock.
We are on pick 12, and I like how this lands for my Dallas Cowboys here.
Do the right thing, Nick. Do the right thing.
So we have options, right? Like there's options. There's not a particular need, I'd say, that Dallas would feel compelled that they must select this player right now because we filled up some holes in the free agency. We're good to go. So we can kind of pick best player available. Shador's on the board. Wow. I did not expect this. Do we go ahead and invest in Dak's backup and in the future here? That'd be a big signal. Or do we go running back? The guy out of North Carolina, he's still sitting around. Sorry, I'm really building this up, man, because we have options.
The card is in. I see the person walking up to the stage with the card. Who's the card?
They're rushing it. All right, so with the 12th pick, my Dallas Cowboys are going to go ahead and select wide receiver out of Arizona, Terrio McMillan. Nice. Big body dude, 6'4", 220. I would say if Genty is still here, I would like Dallas to go ahead and take him, but this is a really deep running back class. I think we hold off on running back till 2nd or 3rd round. We go ahead and get a big-bodied receiver to line up opposite of CeeDee Lamb. Let's try to run this back one more year of Dak. Give him like all the weapons, no excuses. If we can't do something with this, then start to reset at the QB next year.
I don't know about you, but I can see Shador being the pick there and Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, coming back to Dallas to be the head coach.
That would be wild.
That would be fun. But I love that pick. Wide receiver, Arizona. fantastic pick for the Cowboys there. Moving on to 13, the Miami Dolphins are at the clock. They're having the worst offseason known to man. However, they're going to try and get things back on track here by picking up a defensive tackle out of Oregon, 6'4", 313 pounds, Derek Harmon. He can play against the run. He can play against the pass. Dolphins have a lot of holes to fill, but this big Snorlax of a player here is going to do everything they need to on the defensive line. So I'm excited for him.
There's that Pokemon Pro comp. Like it. Okay, so we're at the 14th pick. Indianapolis Colts are on the clock. There's a lot of issues at quarterback last year, but they're kind of tied to the hip with Anthony Richardson for at least one more season, I'd say. And you went ahead and brought in Daniel Jones, so no need for QB. They're going to go ahead and take a tight end. And one of the better tight end prospects we've seen, I would say Tyler Warren out of Penn State. It was a toss-up between him and Colston Loveland, but Warren is the superior prospect coming into this class. Think of him, Antonino, as a Brock Bowers 2.0 coming into this season. He had over 100 catches last year at Penn State, 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns. Pretty much a do-it-all tight end, receiving. Needs to improve a little bit on the blocking, but Indianapolis needs to give Anthony Richardson another weapon and give him a fair shot at trying to win this job this season, or else, looking for another quarterback.
Yeah, Tyler Warren made a lot of plays on the big stage at Penn State in the bowl games and the playoffs. Expect big things out of him. Great pick. 15, the Dirty Birds are on the clock. Atlanta Falcons. They select Will Johnson, cornerback out of Michigan. Cornerback is a position that isn't that, and it's not classified in a high regard this year. I feel like there's not really that, besides Travis Hunter, but he plays a little bit of both. This is your number one bona fide cornerback. I feel like this guy does perfect in a system that plays zone, in which the Falcons play a heavy percentage of. I think he's a ball hawk. He can play a lot of coverage. These are my favorite players to scout. Corners and safeties. I think Will Johnson's going to be a stud one corner. There's a big drop off after him. We'll keep an eye on who goes after.
I like it. Yeah, I mean, he was a guy that was projecting as a top 5 pick early in this process. Didn't impress too much during the combine. Fell a little bit here, but I think Atlanta would be happy to pair him opposite to A.J. Terrell, and they would have a bona fide stud group of cornerbacks, a lockdown system there in Atlanta. All right, our last pick here in the first half. We're going to go ahead. Arizona is on the clock with pick 16. They're going to take Mykel Williams, the edge rusher out of Georgia, 6'5", 260. He can win against the run, man. And Arizona had some tough times being able to stop the run last season, if you recall. But he does need to develop a little bit more as a pass rusher. I think it's a good fit, though, for Arizona. They're prioritizing stopping the run. They're going to go ahead, invest in the defensive line. A guy that can really switch things up and play in a few different schemes for them. So, which leads us, Antonino, into the happen at halftime. And let's just recap really quick before there's a big name that is still on our board, and I think this is going to shock a lot of people listening. So I want to put that disclaimer out there. Shedeur Sanders has not yet been selected in the first 16 picks. I did not see that coming. Did you?
I'm glad we're in halftime. I need a Gatorade. I'm spraying myself down. This has been exhilarating first half of the draft. Shedeur is still standing there. Who's going to grab him? We're at pick 17. Get your popcorn ready. The show's just getting started.
That's right. So for this half-minute halftime, we're going to take a quick break to make a plug here to the chain movement. We've been hinting at this. We want to try to engage with folks in different ways. There's obviously Instagram, there's social media. But how about email? Do people still use emails? Give us your thoughts. If there are ideas that you have for the podcast, any episode recommendations, and if email is your jam, what's that new handle that we have, Antonino? Where can they find us?
It's easy, folks. F130@gmail.com.
F30pod@gmail.com. That's right. It is F30pod@gmail.com. That is the handle if you need to reach us. Oh, man, Antonino. All right.
I might send an email right now to that email address.
Yeah, there you go. So let's hop out of the half-minute halftime. We have the second half. We're doing well in time. We're trying to break records here, Guinness records, fast mock drafts. I believe we ended with pick 17, which is who's up? Oh, it's your Bengals.
That team in the Queen City over there, those Cincinnati Bengals, they're on the clock at 17. I'm going to make this quick and easy. We lost big-time playmakers on the defensive line the past consecutive seasons. Sheldon Rankins didn't do anything this past year. We got gashed in the run. The pick here is going to be between D-tackle and offensive lineman. It's going to be Walter Nolan, defensive tackle, Ole Miss. We need a big body on that line. It'll be between him or Tyler Booker at Alabama, the offensive guard there. Guard's a huge spot we need help in, but it'll be Walter Nolan.
Okay, so it was between him and Tyler Booker. Walter Nolan, good pick. Since you're leaving Tyler Booker still on the board here, Seattle's up, and they do need a guard. So I think with the 18th selection, Seattle will go ahead, take Tyler Booker. This is a Venazor pick right here, man. He can just solar beam the heck out of some defensive linemen. He has a nasty streak, too, if he builds up some of that energy throughout the game. But it's time. They need to protect Sam Darnold. That's like the theme here, you know? When these offensive linemen are being picked up, it's to address a need and to protect the quarterback. And I think that's what they would do here in Seattle, which means, oh my God, Shedor's still available.
Shedeur Sanders still on the clock.
I'm not making this like the theme, but gosh.
You know, when there's value on the board, you got to fit your need. These teams right now are drafting for needs, and that is not quarterback. You got D-tackle, offensive guard, and next at 19, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Raymond James Stadium, where they'll have their party. I'll be in attendance. They will be selecting on their Jumbotron Malachi Starks, safety out of Georgia. Now, let me tell you, if you don't know about Malachi Starks, the guy's a beast, all right? He can do anything. Todd Bowles is over there licking his lips right now. This guy's going to go, and he could play linebacker. He's like a safety with the linebacker body. They'll have a chance of whichever safety they want at this point. So they could get the best safety available. He's a 3-year starter at Georgia, huge run stuffer. Perfect pick for the Bucs here, Malachi Starks.
I'm not disputing. I like it. Malachi Starks, okay. Which means the Denver Broncos are on the clock with pick 20. And with this selection, we're going to go ahead and give Bo Nix a weapon. They'll take wide receiver, not out of Texas, because Matthew Golden is still sitting around too, and a lot of people have him going maybe top 15. Some mocks have said he was going to go to Dallas, but we're going to go ahead and take Ohio State wide receiver Emeka Egbuka. I think I pronounced his last name.
I think you did. I'm proud of you. That was good.
This guy played a lot in the slot the past few seasons for Ohio State. He was a third down machine. I don't think he's going to be a true X factor at the next level, but he's a polished route runner. He can create some space and some opportunities for Bo Nix to make his life a lot easier, which I think that's what Denver wants. They want a Michael Thomas-esque maybe type of dude. Somebody, I'm thinking what Sean Payton's going to try to imitate there, this Drew Brees, Michael Thomas type of connection. So Emeka Egbuka will go to Denver. And all right, Pittsburgh's up, man. Come on.
This is it.
Come on. This has got to be it.
Pick number 21, the Pittsburgh Steelers, who need a quarterback in the worst way, haven't signed anyone, have a bunch of backup players over there now, can't get Aaron Rodgers into town. They're picking Shedeur Sanders, quarterback out of Colorado.
21.
The slide ends here, and unfortunately, this is a great fit for them, a great fit for him. Although, obviously, I do not like the Steelers. This would be a perfect fit for them. I think that's great value. 21 is a perfect spot. I don't know. I think he could really do big things in Pittsburgh. I hate to say it.
No, this would be the best worst case scenario, I think, for him, right? You fall out of the top 10, which means you're not getting drafted by an awful franchise. You're falling to a historically competitive and great franchise in Pittsburgh, who just went ahead and traded for DK Metcalf. They also have, George Pickens on the other side. So you'd be falling into this position with great wide receivers, a great head coach in Mike Tomlin, a good team, a great franchise and organization. He slid, but I think this, honestly, if this plays out, Antonino, I think this would be best case scenario for Shedeur Sanders. Maybe they can temper his personality just a bit.
I agree 100%. I know he can be a bonehead from what I hear. If you haven't seen his YouTube videos, look them up. He's kind of off the wall. He's like a Cubone. If I had to compare him to a Pokemon, probably a Cubone. He's got that hard head with the bone going around showing off. Cubone.
I like Sanders. I like it. All right. For those that aren't familiar, that is another Pokemon reference. We have to. We got the Pokemon theme song in the beginning. It's, got to catch them all, want to be the very best. I think that context is helpful for people that are listening. These guys are all wanting to be the very best. So that's right. The theme we're playing on here. All right, man. So we're on the 22nd pick. With this pick, the Los Angeles Chargers are going to go ahead and take the second tight end in the first round, Michigan's Colston Loveland. I think the Chargers are going to they avoided the wide receiver last year in the draft and a pass catcher for Herbert. They ended up going and beefing up the offensive line in their top 10 pick. I think they give Herbert some kind of option here. Loveland's a 6'6", 250, great pass catching tight end. This could be a really great matchup in connection for the two. So Colston Loveland to the Chargers at pick 22.
At pick 23, we got the Cheeseheads on the clock. I had to tap into my sources. Green Bay Packers fan that lives in my building says they need an edge. I went scouring to see who's left at edge. You have Mike Green out of Marshall. Perfect fit, has some character concerns, got kicked out of UVA, but prior to that, he was projected a number 1 DN, top 15 talent at one point in time. He has 17 sacks last year. Folks, he was in the 99th percentile in the third three-cone drill. He can explode. This is a perfect fit for the Packers.
All right. I like it. And now we're going to stay in the NFC North and move over to pick 24. Minnesota Vikings are going to go ahead and grab offensive guard out of North Dakota State, Greg Zabel. He could project as either a guard or a center, so it really just depends on fit and need for Minnesota here. Again, protection is a key tenet when you draft and invest a top 10 pick in a quarterback the season before. Go ahead, shore up the offensive line, give him somebody to develop alongside. Greg Zabel for the Vikings fits a need. I think this would be a good pick for them.
Houston Texans are on the clock, pick number 25. This one's easy. Their offensive line got decimated this offseason. Last year, C.J. Stroud was running for his life. The pick is Josh Simmons, offensive tackle, Ohio State. They won't even think twice. They'll do cartwheels to the stage.
Yeah, another high-end recruit going in the first round. You see this from time to time, though, man. These 5-star recruits coming out of high school, they might not play out in the college game, but they still have that potential and that upside that the NFL looks for. So pick 26th, the Los Angeles Rams are on. And I'm honestly contemplating here. You have Matthew Stafford. He's aging. I know they gave him a contract. They updated that contract, but there was a lot of talk if he was going to be here or not. Do you consider a quarterback at pick 26? I mean,
no way.
Jalen Milroe is on the board here, man. Do we go ahead and give the Rams Milroe? He's a raw prospect with a lot of athletic upside. He looked a little shaky, I'm not going to lie, during the combine. He was missing some pretty easy throws that I think you and I can make. I digress. But we're going to go ahead and give them a linebacker instead.
Okay.
Jod Campbell, young defense last year. They had a lot of really great pieces. Former edge recruit that has pass rush ability, so he can become kind of like an X-factor player. Campbell's like a dude that they'll plug in the middle, but he can also blitz and provide some pass rush. I think they're going to try to really beef up this defense and make it a top 5, top 10 unit next season.
I love the Campbell linebacker pick. I won't be surprised if he goes somewhere in the teens. That's a huge fall. That's the one guy out of our whole mock draft where I'm like, dang, he could have went a lot higher.
He could. Yeah, I could totally see him going higher.
Campbell. Number 27, the Ratbirds are on the clock, ladies and gentlemen.
How did you end up getting their pick? What? Wait, what's happening here?
Baltimore Ratbirds, come here. They're going to pick a receiver. They keep trying to fill this receiver void. Every year they're trying to get someone. Hopkins is there now. Before that, they got injuries left and right. They're always trying to get a fast guy. Doesn't work out. This year they get a receiver. They're getting Matthew Golden, wide receiver out of Texans. He was late blooming. Texas Longhorns, late bloomer. He's a playmaker, 5'11", 191 pounds, runs a 4.29 in the 40-yard dash. Yeah. Pair him up with Lamar. Why not?
Yeah, man, look, these guys, whoever ends up having the fastest 40 time in the combine usually always becomes a first-round pick. Golden is projecting to go as high as Dallas at pick 12, I've seen. So if the Ravens can go ahead and get him at 27, I think Ravens fans, let us know. Hit us up in the F30pod@gmail. Let us know what you think about what the Ravens are going to do here. Do you like a golden pick? Would you be happy with that? We'll see. All right. So we're on pick 28. That's Detroit. They're going to go ahead and go with edge rusher 2, Texas A&M, Nick Scorton. After what we saw in the divisional round of the playoffs, it became apparent that Detroit could not produce a pass rush. They were trying to blitz, and they couldn't do it with just 4 down linemen. Go ahead, get this 20-year-old. That's right. This guy is only 20. Add to that pass rush. I think it would be a good pick for Detroit if they were able to get him here.
Pick 29, the Washington Commanders are on the clock, and I have a slam dunk of a pick right here. I'm going straight to James Pierce Jr., edge rusher out of Tennessee. The guy is a freak, 6'5", 245 pounds. His RAS score is 9.4. He's an explosive edge rusher. He's a machine. He's like a Venusaur plus a Blastoise plus a Charizard put together, folks.
Why is this guy not going number 1 then?
I'm trying to tell you, he's got so much acceleration. I watch so much SEC football. Like, that's all I watch. College comes around, SEC football all the time. He might be the best pass rusher in this class, specifically pass rush. He needs to work on his run stuffing ability. That's why he goes this late. Best pass rusher in the class goes to the Commanders, James Pierce Jr.
I wonder what our Commander fan, Joe, would think of this pick. We had him on the last episode. Joe, you have the email now. Let us know what you think of Washington's pick of James Pierce Jr. here.
And don't rule out a trade back. They could trade back, but that's a slam dunk pick right there.
They could. All right, 30th pick. Buffalo Bills are on the clock. They're going to go ahead and take defensive tackle out of Ohio State, Tyleik Williams, big-time bull rusher. I mean, you could compare this guy to a Tauros in the Pokemon realm. You like that?
I love that.
It does add some depth to their defensive line, opposite of Ed Oliver. I'd say they go for this, bolster up the defensive line. You usually see this later from these late first-round picks.
Pick 31, the Chiefs are going to get a safety, arguably 1A, 1B. This guy, Nick Antonino out of South Carolina. He's arguably the best safety, tied for best safety. You saw the Super Bowl. You saw the Eagles score how many points? They need a safety, lockdown safety on the back end. Has tons of range, can cover. He's built like a linebacker as well. He has great instincts. Great fit here for the Chiefs.
Awesome. Which means we are in the last pick of the 2025 first and 30 mock draft. And the Philadelphia Eagles are on the clock, and I have the honor of selecting this pick. And, oh no, the Eagles didn't get the card in on time. They forfeit the pick, so we go to the next selection. It's in the second round now.
I love that.
Sorry, Eagles fans. I guess better luck. You at least won a Super Bowl. You can't win it all.
The Boo Birds are coming out. The Boo Birds are coming out.
I'll take it. Come on. All right, jokes aside. We're going to go ahead and give Philadelphia a new defensive tackle, Kenneth Grant. They went ahead and lost Williams to free agency. He signed a big mega deal with New England. So why not grab an explosive 330-pound defensive tackle to replace Milton Williams? I think Eagles fans would be happy with that. They don't want to feel like they're subtracting. They want to feel like they're kind of maintaining whatever they had at a cheaper price tag. So.
And one thing I have to note here, I don't mean to cut you off there. One thing I want to note, at 32, you could see some teams try and trade back into the first round to draft a quarterback so they get that extra year of contractual control. Because if you draft them in the first round, you get 5 years on that rookie deal. So watch 32, 31 for teams to move back into the first round.
Do you know any team that you think? I would say the Rams, right? Well, no, the Rams might take one at 26 But who would you really trade up for, Milroe? That's probably the only guy projecting second round, or is there somebody else?
Ewers is out there.
Oh, no, Ewers isn't going to go in the first.
There's Ohio State quarterback, which I'm not a fan of.
Will Howard? Oh, no, not in the first.
There is always a team that does some crazy move on draft day, so let the suspense build, folks. We're 8 days away from the NFL draft. I cannot wait. Let's go.
That's right. All right. Well, we didn't do it in under 30 minutes, so we did not break our record this year, but still, those are concise, about 32, 33-ish minutes to do a whole mock draft. I'm proud of that. I think, we had a lot of storybook headlines flashing Shador to 21 at Pittsburgh. Wow, that was definitely the surprise.
some super hot takes, some super hot Pokemon. Come on, nostalgia for the win here. We had all the fire takes on all these players. We had the scouting report. We looked all these guys up and down, and we said, I choose you. And until we see the draft and until the next episode, we'll see you on the next one. The next one is the best one.
That's right. Until next time, remember when your number's called, no matter the odds.
Let's go for it.